Hello, I'm Layla Welkin, and I'm a psychotherapist and a cross-cultural psychologist who's worked for many years with people affected by violence. Sometimes that violence was in their own families, sometimes it's been as a result of war. During 2013 and 14, I worked with Turkish government and United Nations agencies to develop programs that were for the prevention and intervention in gender-based violence, working with refugees, primarily Syrians living in Turkey. We learned a lot of things from that effort, but one of the things that we saw very clearly was that people who want to help tend to burn out and leave the effort quickly. People who are working with refugees are generally not psychologists, and they don't need to be. Good-hearted people who want to help are very important. Communities of good-hearted people are essential to our efforts. But at the same time, certain kinds of knowledge and certain techniques can really improve the quality of the work that we do and make our service more sustainable. People who serve the survivors of violence tend to become affected by that violence as well. People who've been affected by violence have experiences that are based upon trauma. And trauma tends to make people become fearful, anxious, maybe irritable, sometimes depressed, sometimes angry, or even violent themselves. It can be hard to work for over a long period of time with people who are affected by trauma. And people who serve the survivors of violence tend to experience what we call secondary or vicarious trauma. The prevention of secondary and vicarious trauma can be done best with training that helps people to recognize, to manage, and to provide healing for trauma effects. We are planning, as the Pomegranate Connection, to offer just such a training that will offer the kinds of skills and mind-body techniques that can strengthen participants, that can be shared with other service providers, and that can be used with survivors themselves, so that in this way participants can return to their work rejuvenated and renewed with new strength and knowledge to use in their service.
Kirsten Voris, and I'm a trauma-sensitive yoga instructor. Trauma-sensitive yoga was developed at Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's Trauma Center in Brookline, Massachusetts, and it uses yoga asanas or forms to develop body awareness. It was conceived of as an adjunct to talk therapy for trauma survivors, and so this is the perfect way to bring body and mind together in people who have lived through trauma, which is ultimately the goal of any comprehensive trauma treatment. My yoga journey began in Ankara, Turkey, where I completed my teacher training. I'm Yoga Alliance certified, and my very first clients were members of the aid community in Ankara, and I could see what a great benefit they were getting from their yoga practice. Their stress levels went down, they were able to sleep, and they were able to leave their jobs behind when they came home in the evening, and I was really inspired by them to try and find a type of yoga that might more directly address what they were going through, the stresses that they felt at their jobs, and that led me to trauma-sensitive yoga. Trauma-sensitive yoga has completely changed the way I teach all of my yoga classes, no matter what the style, because it's reminded me that yoga is not just physical exercise. It's about bringing body, mind, and spirit together to create a whole person, and I'm really excited to bring this kind of yoga to people who might not otherwise have the opportunity to experience it.
Now more than ever, in a world full of upheaval and full of fear, compassionate people need skills, and knowledge. Please, if you would like, join us for the training in Italy, or if you would prefer, please provide funding for the participation of someone else who will serve refugees. Thank you.